Fish Jock. Order online today at oceanvita.com. Vita is VIDA.com. And get your 20% off before this sale ends. Stay dry and cool when you're reeling in your next big fish.
Are you looking for the web's best sports news? Visit jockjournal.com. Sports media has lost its touch. It seems that journalists are scared to report what they see in fear of losing access to the teams they cover. At jockjournal.com, you get inside information on the entire NFL community without all the politics or fears other writers have. That's jockjournal.com. When you need the NFL sports news, information, opinions, fantasy football, or discussions, there is only one place to go, and it's jockjournal.com.
You are listening to Jock Journal Radio. News, opinion, and discussion for all you Jock stars.
Support for this show comes from Material. Material is a simple and intuitive e-commerce platform that lets you get your online store started without paying a dime. That's right. No ads, no setup costs, no transaction fees. Experience a fresh and easy new way to sell online by signing up at material.com today.
Welcome back to the Sports Drive, where we give you sports radio that doesn't suck.
I think that I've become a little bit
obsessed
with sports.
And we welcome you back to the Sports Drive as we're cruising along here in the final hour of the program here on Jock Journal Radio. Nash Carey behind the glass. I'm Frank Sprankle, the big win. And my goodness, we should call this, we're just going to call Sean Mann just the ultimate ladies' dream. There you go. You're the ultimate ladies' dream.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this.
The ultimate ladies' dream that you are. All right, let's continue with the sports because, listen, we are in the business of talking about sports.
Yes, we are.
That's what makes Sean Mann sexy here, according to you ladies. But we are here. Listen, I do want to talk about the Cleveland Browns here. And you look at this, and by the way, there's a couple interesting storylines heading into this week's matchup on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. And first of all, it's Mike Pettin. I got to tell you, Sean, reading Mike Pettin's comments here, and he could think whatever he wants. By the way, one thing I'm convinced of, this has nothing to do with Mike Pettin and his comments that he made about Russell Wilson. But outside of that, this guy's gone at the end of the year. I mean, this guy, listen, the Cleveland Browns, who's going to be coaching them next year? That I want to know. But Mike Pettin, this guy just doesn't consider Russell Wilson to be a top-tier quarterback. Now, I don't know in the world of Carmen Sandiego how you consider this guy to be a top-tier quarterback because if you look at Russell Wilson, this guy has been to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. And by the way, we got a text here from 216. I am so tired of Mike Pettin and his old school style of coaching. I hope he goes and Manziel stays. Okay, listen. I want to talk to that texter right now because if it makes you feel any better, you 216 and by the way, I know you're calling from Cleveland, Ohio, the home of the Browns, the home of the struggling Browns. I think Johnny Manziel has a better shot of staying in Cleveland than Mike Pettin. And I'll say this too for the 216 texter here. I want to say this too. Remember, Mike Pettin did not want Johnny Manziel to start. I mean, he had him demoted third string behind Josh McCown and Austin Davis. I have a feeling too that that this decision to start Johnny Manziel recently against the 49ers, that came from the higher ups behind Mike Pettin. Look, he knows he's out of a job. He knows that his coaching tenure is a lame duck. He probably's already been told he's a lame duck head coach. The front office probably told him, look, you got to start Manziel. This is the guy that brings the publicity. He's the one that sells the jerseys. Start Johnny Manziel or we're going to can your you-know-what now. By the way, from the 360, Mike Pettin will have more nightmares of Russell Wilson than he will of Manziel. Well, he might after the game Sunday. Sean, I don't know how you can't consider this guy to be a top-tier quarterback. 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl win just 2 years ago. A guy that leads the offense, maybe he does it differently than what you would expect from a Tom Brady, from a Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers. But in the end, this guy wins football games. He takes teams to the Super Bowl. He wins a championship. Top-tier quarterback, Mike Pettin, I don't know what you're thinking. In 503, you're thinking it's going to be 51-17 Seahawks over the Browns. And 509, Josh had an interview with the CIA, ESPN Radio in Chicago. Sean, what do you think? I mean, Mike Pettin saying what he wants, but he is completely wrong here.
He is completely wrong, and I have to tell you, the Browns are just a team that's dealing with a lot of, they're dealing with a lot of uncertainty because there is not a lot of prediction in there. There's like really just not a lot to expect, out of the Cleveland Browns. I can't believe.
Oh, it's depressing. It really is.
You know what? The last time the Browns made the playoffs was the 2002 Cleveland Browns. So
how many people remember that? Sean, how many people actually remember? Oh, the last time the Cleveland Browns made it to the postseason was 2002. People don't remember that.
That was when they had Butch Davis as their coach of the Browns, right. And Cleveland made it. They played a heck of a playoff game against Pittsburgh. The Steelers beat them 36-33. That was a game that had all the makings of a classic because, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, old rivals and stuff too. But I have to say that what we've seen from them, has just been a team that's gone so much downhill, that they have not been the same team, that they've been so downhill, and that it continues to get work. The texts keep coming in from 206.
Yeah, read this one, Sean. Read this.
We have eyes on Johnny Football. Weed is legal here, and we know he arrives in 48 hours. Seattle is watching you.
That's area code. That is from Seattle. That is from literally the area code of where the Seahawks play.
Right.
Essentially, field. And by the way, oh my goodness, hold on. We're thank you, 206. Thank you, because hold on. This could be a recipe for disaster. So marijuana is legal, or as Mr. Mackey would say in South Park, marijuana is bad, but it's legal in Seattle. It's illegal throughout the state of Washington, for that matter. And Johnny Manziel is about to arrive. Lock your doors. Hide your children. Weed is illegal in the state of Washington, and here comes Johnny Manziel. Oh, my goodness. May the entire state of Washington please beware.
Indeed. Make sure that they are aware, because you know what? Even when we get to tomorrow's pick, we already know that Cleveland is going to have a very, very, very tough time winning against Seattle. I already saw one text that already said that, Seattle is going to blow the Browns out 51-17.
Here's another one. I'll tell you what. Please keep these texts coming. Keep these texts coming. Or as a matter of fact, if you're a lady, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm surprised Sean Man has not gotten a phone number or two from any of these ladies. But just stop laughing. You got to read. Listen,
what are you talking about? A lady could just say, Sean, I got your phone.
Sean,
I want.
If you don't quiet here, I'm not going to be able to read the number or the text, and you're not going to get any phone numbers from any ladies. Let me read this, and maybe you'll get a couple phone numbers from some of these beautiful gals that are trying. Anyway, if you want to talk about the Cleveland Browns, Johnny Manziel, this pretty interesting matchup, which I'm looking forward to Saturday between the Browns and the Seahawks. 405 area code 562-5463, or continue to text us, and ladies, continue to text your dirty photos to 77948, so Sean Man can. Oh dear Lord! From from Washington, I want me some. My husband is deployed, and he sounds smooth.
Oh my gosh! I saw that.
Let's move on from that. And by the way, from the 253 area code, Orgy at the SeaTac Marriott with Manziel wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Getting back. Listen,
sure.
All right. Maybe here too. Maybe Mike Pettin is looking at Russell Wilson from the standpoint that he's not your typical quarterback. And I've said this about Russell Wilson: he can have all this athletic ability now, and he's a young guy. But 10 years from now, he'll be a dinosaur. he will lose his physical ability. And if you take a look at guys such as Tom Brady, Sean, you know Tom Brady very well. By the way, you actually seem to be more popular for the ladies than Tom Brady is over these last 3 hours. Yeah, you're finally Sean Mann's one up on Tom Brady, and he's married to one of the most well-renowned supermodels on earth. But if you take a look at Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, these guys are pocket quarterbacks. I got to say this, Russell Wilson may be effective for now, but Russell Wilson is going to have to learn to stay in the pocket and throw the ball more. He's going to have to rely more on his arm than with his legs as he's going to get older. Because as you get older in the NFL, and Ray Lewis, with all those years in the National Football League, you know what he said? He said that I lost my physicality as the years went on. But the reason why I became effective at such an older age is because of my mind, my wit. I had game experience. I was able to know the play, the situation, and that's the case for any NFL player. You have to know coverages. You have to know. You have to depend on the playbook. You have to know what's going on in terms of certain situations, and you get that through game experience, and that helps you as you get older. And Russell,
Frank, 216. Frank, you are only about a 3-hour drive from me.
Let me ask you. All right. Let me ask you this.
Oh,
you 216 son of a gun, from Cleveland. And by the way, I wish you guys the best because I think it's going to be a trouncing there. I agree with that one texture, 51-17, although maybe not that much of a lance. Well, it might be. But listen, so what are you going to do if I come to your house at 216? I don't know if you're a dude wanting to punch me out. What are you going to do? Anyway, 360, Russell Wilson is progressing more into a pass-first QB as this team is progressing into a pass-first team. Just look at how the stats are developing. That's the point I'm making here. Russell Wilson is going to have to depend more on his arm than in his legs because guess what? You just don't have the physical ability more as you get past 35.
Yeah, that's very, very true when you think about it. And the fact of the matter is that, with Johnny Manziel, you're right. What's he going to be like in 5 or 10 years? That's still going to be the big, big debate.
He's got to be more mature. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the thing. And Johnny Manziel, watching him at Texas A&M, this guy was awesome to watch. I mean, he really was. I wasn't a big fan of the money deal, but as far as him being the starting quarterback of the Aggies at Texas A&M, the way he was able to run, the way he was able to make much to do out of nothing sometimes running that offense, he did one hell of a job. Johnny Manziel, pure awesome. But the thing is, if you take a look, and I think Matt Leinart, understand it's been 10 years since USC and Texas played in that memorable Rose Bowl for the national championship. And the NFL Network had Matt Leinart, they had Vince Young, the two starting quarterbacks in that game. You know what they both said? I think Matt Leinart said this, that Matt Leinart just wasn't mature enough at the time to handle the NFL. It's not just about physical ability or football ability. It's about maturity. And 602, even if Seattle wins, their chances of winning the division are less than 2%. Okay, I agree. Arizona's going to win that division. But if there's a Seattle Seahawks fan, Nash Carey, I know you're one of them, this Seattle Seahawks team, just get into the playoffs. You hold the number 5 seed. It doesn't matter if it's the 5 or 6 seed. This is a team that's clicking at the right time. And we have seen teams that have clicked go on to make long playoff runs, even Super Bowl runs. So for Seattle, okay, 2% chance of winning the NFC West. Arizona, I mean, let's face it, Arizona. But if they can get into the playoffs, anything's possible, and they got momentum on their side. By the way, Jim Brown here, we got 5 minutes before we go to a break here. Jim Brown himself, you associate the Cleveland Browns and you associate them with Jim Brown. No question about it. Even Jim Brown has been very impressed with Johnny Manziel. As a matter of fact, there was an article here in the Cleveland Plain Dealer from Bronson Wright of the Plain Dealer, and the headline reads verbatim. It just says that Cleveland Browns great Jim Brown, actually Cleveland, the face of why just call it the face of the Cleveland Browns, Jim Brown. But anyway, Cleveland Browns great Jim Brown says Johnny Manziel proved last week that he can play. I still want to see more convincing, But listen, if Jim Brown says that, then I guess you can't argue with the fact because you're talking about the greatest guy in the history of the Cleveland Browns here, Jim Brown. There's no bigger legend than Jim Brown, even bigger than Paul Brown, maybe. Although I think Paul Brown. Now, actually, I'll say this. Paul Brown, the guy institutionalized football, he founded the Browns.